I woke up this morning. Okay, since I feel like we should talk about this with all of our listeners because season 1 and season 2, basically I'm growing up with everyone watching me.
Welcome.
And listening to me on the podcast. So I used to hate all birthdays and holidays, and I don't know why. Just like I'm a bother and I'm going to be disappointed. It doesn't matter what you get me. I'm not going to like it. You're going to get me a gift card. I'm going to put it in a drawer and never use it. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to punish myself. I don't know what all my drama has been for the last decade, but I woke up today and I'm just like, today's a good day to have a birthday. It's a good day to be middle-aged.
Let's celebrate.
I'm celebrating all day long. It's a little bit gloomy outside. I'm like, can't rain on my parade. No. I just got up, just having my best life. I woke up and told my kids to tell me happy birthday in case they forgot. I'm like, I'm not going to even let this be a bad day in case they've forgotten, which Eleanor woke up and woke me up. It's like, happy birthday, Mom. She loves celebrating. Cooper woke up. He remembered. Chase woke up on the wrong side of the bed because he's not a morning person. I was like, hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday to me, Chase. And he's like, oh, Mom, happy birthday. And I'm ready to live my best life. Let's record a podcast.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, to start with, I got you a gift.
Oh my gosh, because it's my birthday. I love gifts. And this is cute. It's cute little paper. Okay. Oh my word. This t-shirt that says favorite because
you're my favorite.
Oh my gosh. I might wear this to lunch. We're going to lunch after this. I might wear this.
I think you need to.
And let everybody, hopefully they'll comment on it.
I think
hopefully I'll be carrying myself in such a way, like, and they'll ask me about it. And
I'll just walk beside you and I'll say, she's my favorite.
Oh my goodness. Today's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to have a birthday. It's a great day to record a podcast.
Yeah.
It's just a great day. So
let's get started. If we haven't met you yet, I'm Heather George. This is my best friend, Jamie Jobe, and
it's her birthday.
It's her birthday. Okay. This is Life in Motion, the podcast where we talk about everything, life, the ups and downs, the in-between, and even the stuff we're not supposed to talk about. So let's get started.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I was thinking about this, and one thing that we've been talking about in relationships a lot that we keep repeating over and over and over again is boundaries, which that's most people's response when they hear the word boundaries is,
I'll take a drink of
negative.
Listen, it's my birthday. I haven't been drinking caffeine. My doctor took me off of it. She can't tell me what to do on my birthday.
She can't.
Drinking coffee. Go ahead. And I'm going to take a big drink if we're going to talk about boundaries.
Okay, good.
Okay.
You'll need it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, I think everybody responds that way, like it's a negative. And usually, I don't know, I have been learning a lot about myself and how I operate in boundaries. And I've found that boundaries for me bring me safety and freedom. Okay. I was thinking about a story, so I'm going to ask this question, and then you can tell me if you've ever been in a situation like this.
Okay.
Have you ever walked into...
I like that game. Have you ever... Okay, go ahead. Have you ever?
Have you ever walked into a situation when you had no idea what was expected of you, who was in the room, what was going to be happening, that you just didn't know what to expect?
Okay. This is probably not the answer you were thinking of, but because it's my birthday, all I can think about is myself. And
we're going to give you that freedom today.
I hate surprise parties because of that.
Yeah.
I do not like to walk into the unknown. It makes me wildly uncomfortable. Even if it was a positive, like you're walking into a great situation, don't get me out of my comfort zone without telling me first. So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about a time when I was a little kid, probably, I'm going to guess, less than 8 years old. And my parents took myself and my siblings with them to a high school reunion. And
so fun.
One of their high schools, not mine.
But, well, sure, if you were 8, it would be hard to have graduated. Go ahead.
But, you never know with me.
Oh, my goodness.
But anyway, it was one of my parents' high school reunion, probably 5 or 10 year reunion. And all we knew was we were going to a high school reunion at this park. And we go, and there's all these families, and there's food and drinks everywhere, and there's tons of kids playing with toys and whatnot all around us. But my siblings and I just sat there, on a picnic blanket watching, because we had no idea that all of the food and the drinks and the toys were there for us.
Oh, no.
As the kids of all these old high school people.
Graduates, alumni.
Which
all the alumni.
I bring this up to illustrate that there's so many...
You sounded so professional. I bring this up to illustrate. Go ahead.
That there's so many situations and relationships in our life where we have freedom to operate, or freedom to do something, or freedom to be ourselves, but we don't know where the boundaries are, and we hold back from who we are, or saying what we think, or doing something that we love to do because we don't know if it's welcome or accepted, or...
You made boundaries sound really inviting.
I think as somebody who loves to explore not only ideas, but physical world, to me, boundaries are what set me free to
Hold
be
on
myself.
A second. True and false.
What?
Boundaries are what set you free. What boundaries, in my opinion, what boundaries do for you, Heather, is show you what to step over.
Boundaries give me my sandbox to play in. Like, this is actually a personal value of mine, where I was deciding on, going through a process of what are my personal values? What are the things in my life that kind of determine how I live my life and operate with people? And boundaries is one of them.
That is fascinating to me, because I have a picture, which I'm going to try to find and post it on social media so the world can see. I have a picture of you. I hope it won't get you arrested, so maybe I shouldn't post it.
I think I'm out of the jurisdiction. I know what you're talking about.
I have a picture of you in a national park with a sign that said either don't step off the path, don't touch the berries, don't something. It was like stay off, keep out. And I have a picture of you 1 foot over the boundary line, reaching out, picking a berry and eating it from the national park.
I just jumped over the boundary.
You just jumped over the boundary.
True. That's what I usually do. Like, a speed limit is a boundary, and I'm usually not going to drive the speed limit. I'm usually 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit.
Help me understand how boundaries are of value to you, because I don't get it.
When we were setting up a boundary as a value to me, we discussed many different ways that this could be presented in my life,
or
and
what word you
means.
could use,
or what word I could use.
So, okay, for clarity, are you talking about when you had your life plan done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you and Whit was there, and then the facilitator, and you're deciding how to label this or what have you. Okay,
because I do enjoy my freedom,
Sure.
and I'm frequently stepping over the line that's drawn. Which, that's fine, because then I know, okay, this is 1 step over the line or 2 steps over the line, but I can go back and stand behind the line when I need to. So the boundary there is like a gray area that I'll just...
This is fantastic. Okay, the way, Heather, that I see boundaries is, like a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get past here. So they feel restrictive to me.
Well, what side of the brick wall are you standing on? Is it something that somebody else has put up their wall and they're keeping you out?
Oh, well,
or
that's
is it
rude.
a brick wall that you've put up?
Oh, I like those, the ones I put up
The
to
ones
keep you
that
out.
you put up.
And then that's safety.
And that's safety.
Okay.
But a lot of times, if you're standing on the other side of the brick wall, you can't see what's happening over there, and you're
mad
about it.
'Cause I'm
You're
mad
the
about
one that's
everything.
experiencing it as negative.
Sure.
But if you're in a relationship with that person who's set up that brick wall and has told you, I'm trying to think of something they would set a boundary for you with, but Your boss sets a boundary and says, Jamie, it's really important that you do not just pop into this meeting with this group of people here. You've been sticking your head in the door and talking to them.
That's not something I would do.
And it's disrupting the meeting. So I need you to stop doing that.
That kind of hurts my feelings.
But for all of the people that are in that room that are having an important planning meeting,
and known to pop in,
and you're sticking your head in and getting people off track, and it adds 30 minutes to their meeting.
Did my boss ask you to bring this up?
No, he didn't. Okay. I haven't talked to your boss.
Okay.
But I could be your boss because obviously this is something we need to talk about.
Okay, I'm going to quit polishing my nails and listen because he's going to listen. He typically texts me day of podcast and says something. So,
but it's safety for all those people that are in the room that you've been knocking off track by 30 minutes when you pop in and say, hi, what's going on in here?
You know what I think I'm doing? Building culture, spreading love, allowing people to enjoy their work life.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly, maybe. Might be more appropriate to do that in the break room.
Wow. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. But, I mean, yes, you feel like a brick wall there, and that does hurt your feelings. But
it's no wonder my boss is cool with me working from home.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, that's something that's a subtle boundary that he's put in place. Like, it'd be better if you just...
Because I sometimes say, am I getting enough done? He's like, yeah, you can keep working from home. Doing great. Oh my gosh. Okay.
But anyway, what was I going to say?
That's a subtle boundary.
That's a subtle boundary that in the end will help your relationships with all those people that are in that meeting. Instead of them resenting you and thinking, oh my gosh, here comes Jamie. I got to make sure that she doesn't distract me from my work. That they can appreciate the times that they do see you.
I can't even believe that on my birthday, these people are dreading me coming in to see them.
For anybody that's listening, this is all hypothetical.
No, it's not. Okay, so if we have a clearer understanding, maybe not clear, but clearer understanding on boundaries, then what do we need to talk about today? If we bring this topic to the table and we say, let's talk about parts of this that maybe aren't often talked about, at least not in the church. What do we need to talk about?
I think a good marker for anyone listening that might be wondering, do I need a boundary in this relationship? And what should it be? A really good temperature reading, so to speak, would be your feelings and your physical response when you're with someone or in certain situations. So you're having a meeting with your boss.
Here we go again.
And every time you're with your boss, you're feeling shame or fear, and your body is giving you a physical response, like you know, something's happening there. There's something happening that you need to examine to figure out, why is it that every time I'm with my boss, I'm feeling fear? And then what boundary needs to be put in place to help you to operate in the workplace without experiencing fear? Is it something that he's doing, or is it something that you've experienced in your past that is, that's responding inappropriately to your boss's correction?
Why are you uncomfortable with your boss, Heather? Who's your boss, Whit? Why do
I have
you
no boss?
Why do you hate having meetings with him? I'm just curious. I'm sorry.
But that's, I think our physical response, our physical signals,
so
our emotional signals.
So you can't live by your emotions or your feelings, but they are almost always an indicator of something. Okay, so let's say that we figure out what's bringing up the emotional response. Like, my boss is a hothead. I should be feeling shame. He's going to come down on me too hard, or she, or what have you. Or with the mother-in-law, she tries to correct my kids and I don't like it, or I mean, whatever. Let's say we figure out what that is. What do you do with it? What's that have to do with anything?
Setting your boundaries. It brings you safety and it brings you freedom, or safety to the people around you.
Heather, can you give me a specific example of maybe a hard boundary that you've personally set?
So I was in a situation with a coworker that just was super difficult. Every interaction that I had, I just felt belittled and a lot of shame. I didn't feel like I could be myself. I didn't have the freedom to be myself in this relationship, and I didn't feel safety in the relationship. I just would walk away hurt and confused, and it's just every conversation I would be second guessing myself, and then I did the whole replay in my mind for days at a time of you should have said this, or you could have said that. And, it was just getting to the place where it was so stressful to be in a meeting or an interaction with this person that I sent a very clunky boundary that was just like, I can't be alone with you, or I can't do this anymore.
You said that to the person?
I didn't send that to the person. I didn't say it.
It's like, wow.
I just put up a brick wall. I just stiff-armed him.
Okay, you pulled a Jamie Jobe.
And
okay.
I did. I put up a brick wall, gave him the stiff arm.
Not healthy.
Just like, I can't do this anymore. Which wasn't healthy, but it helped me at the time.
Absolutely.
Learning from that experience, I realized, okay, there was things that I needed to figure out in my boundaries. I heard this, somebody said there's the listening boundary, that you set a boundary of how to listen for yourself. You work on it yourself, where you're really listening to somebody. And so they say, well, you're just stupid. Well, some people might hear that and they have a good listening boundary and they can just walk away from that and say, of course I'm not stupid. I don't even know what they're talking about. And it doesn't even affect them. Other people that you're in a relationship with and they say, oh, you're stupid, just cuts you right to, it's like a knife to the heart.
Oh, yeah.
And so I realized, okay, I can really hear what this person is saying. I worked on listening and understanding. And as I began to listen to them, I realized, well, they're not putting me down by what they're saying there. They're just trying to present something in a way that's
so maybe you and this person just speak different languages type of thing.
Yeah. So certainly going forward with that person, it was like, okay, preparing myself to listen. What is this person really trying to say? How are they approaching it? And are they intending it to be personal to me? And realizing, well, this isn't personal. It's just learning their language helped me immensely. Am I going to be in a close relationship with them? No, but I know how to interact with them and listen. And to keep a personal boundary that's going to keep me safe, to realize, okay, what they're saying and not taking it personally.
So what is that personal boundary you've set for yourself?
I'm listening to what you're saying, but also for my safety, because I do tend to take a lot of things personally. For my safety, I'm not sharing my personal life with you. I'm here in a working relationship, and I'm sharing what I'm working on with you, but I'm not bringing my personal life into this relationship.
Okay, so that is a firm boundary and helpful. There actually is a hard boundary that Brian set with his mom when we were first married that has provided incredible freedom for us and allowed us to have a healthy relationship with his mom. When we first got married, I don't even know if I heard this happen. But I think we only had one child at the time. So Cooper's little, toddling around, and your first kid, everybody parents differently, but we were pretty over the top strict. Our first kid, we were going to do this right. He was going to be good. He was not going to be that kid that screamed in Target or anything else. I mean, he was going to toe the line. And we were probably too hard on him. But Brian's mom said something to Brian about the fact that we were being too hard on him. And honestly, all these years later, 16 years later, I agree. But we were the parents and she was not. She said something to Brian, and Brian, as he does, very politely, very responsibly, and very seriously said, Mom, you can keep your opinions to yourself or never see your grandchildren. Your choice. But now if I said that, that would be rude. Brian doesn't operate from a point of being rude. He does sometimes. He's so direct, he can hurt you or hurt your feelings, but his motivation is never one of being rude. He's just such a wonderful person. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what some of his weaknesses are because I like to tell him, but this isn't it. But that was a very firm boundary that she knew he was serious, and she did not attempt to tell us how to parent any longer. And man, she's a great grandmother to the kids. The kids love her. There's freedom for her to just be the grandma and us to just be the parents. And, P.S. in hindsight, she was right. But that boundary, man, it's made our relationship as a family so much better.
Yeah.
So
I think an important thing when you're setting boundaries is you can't make anybody do anything. So you can't say to someone, listen, you're not going to talk to me like that anymore. You can say, if you continue to use these derogatory statements in our conversations, I'm going to have to move out until you agree to marriage counseling and we can figure out a healthier way to communicate.
It's not me controlling something versus me giving you the freedom and myself the freedom to choose where we land, knowing that there might then be an impasse.
So help me set this boundary. I'm a young 20-something. I'm living in a house.
You're real cute. You're cute.
I'm living in a house with 3 or 4 other girls. We're all paying rent. We're sharing a kitchen.
Yeah.
And one of my roommates keeps coming in and borrowing my clothes without asking. How do I set the boundary of, I prefer you to not borrow my clothes, and if you keep doing this, I'm going to have to put a lock on my door or charge you extra rent.
We are so different.
Send you my dry cleaning bill.
We are so different because that was actually not like putting a lock on your door. That's nice. I'm listening to you talk thinking, I'm going to kick you out. Like if you keep borrowing my clothes without asking, you're out. You don't live here anymore. Line drawn. I dare you to wear those pants. So what would be a good boundary? Well, it's at the very least, a boundary is not going to be put in place without a conversation.
Right.
So it's at least having a conversation and saying, here's what I'm experiencing. I know you've been wearing some of my clothes, and I know I've let you wear some of them from time to time, so no big deal. I see why you would think it was okay. It's starting to rub me the wrong way and bother me. And I don't know if you know that. So first, I just wanted to let you know, it's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I think for myself to not get frustrated, it's going to help if I have some kind of clear line of expectations. So, and then what is it? If you want to wear something, I just need you to ask first. Do you have to give the consequence? Like it seems like a first conversation, it's kind of, potentially could be kind of rude to say, and if you do,
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. When you think of that in freedom, you popping your head into somebody's office.
Oh my gosh.
That it then helps the roommate who's the offender.
Do you ever feel like in the conversations in the podcast that we are coaching me in life and that this is more like a counseling session?
This is a conspiracy. People have given me
Someone gave us microphones
and said, would you please
to
talk
try
to Jamie
pull
about
me
this on air?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so no popping in meetings. Wah, wah, wah.
But no, but it gives freedom in the relationship instead of building tension and building walls and not saying anything or I'm the one that would put up with it, just like, And then I'd gripe about it
frustrated.
behind the scenes to other people, other roommates or whatever, that to be able to say, I prefer you not to.
And then I would be the one that would say, like, we probably shouldn't live together and never deal with the root issue. Just completely abort mission. Can't be roommates.
Overall, what I think we need to remember is that the boundary is not to build walls, but to keep a relationship intact. That by setting a boundary, building a fence to say, here are my parameters, you're inviting somebody into your space within those parameters.
That's good, Heather. That reminds me back to the story of Brian talking to his mom when we had Cooper. What the conversation did was not only preserve a relationship, gave us freedom to be who we were and allows us to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Which is helpful because one of the things I'm noticing in my counseling session with you right now is that I tend to stiff arm and cut off and hurt myself versus do the hard work of restoring relationship, which is such a, like, why do I do that? But yeah, very interesting. I'm going to have to do some deep heart work there. But when you first brought up boundaries, I was not thinking to preserve a relationship. I was thinking to effectively and politely cut someone out.
Which I think is probably, I'm going to say most of our default tendency is somebody says, well, you just need to set a boundary there. And immediately our image is brick wall, cut off.
Yeah.
And no more, this relationship is over.
Yeah.
When really bringing that boundary invites you closer.
Kind of reminds me of the fence in my backyard because in the neighborhood I live in, I have a boundary around my backyard. So my dogs are safe. They can't get out and bite your child or anything else. They're not going to get lost, but they can see out. And I feel like that might be kind of what you're talking about. Like when you first said boundaries at the beginning of the conversation, I think brick wall. You can't see me any longer. I can't see you any longer. Nobody's crossing this line. But if I think about the fence in my own literal backyard, you can see through it. I could have a conversation with my next door neighbor. We could see one another, but there's still a line there that you can't cross, but we could talk to one another. We could see.
And there's a gate that you can open and say, come closer.
Wow. Okay. That doesn't sound nearly as bad.
It's an invitation. I want to be
a
in
boundary is an invitation.
I want to be in relationship with you. And this is how I can safely be in relationship with you is by letting you know that for some reason it hurts my feelings when you borrow my clothes.
Yeah.
So,
right. That's really, a boundary is an invitation. I think more people would establish boundaries if they could view them as invitations. They're invitations for relationship. And you know, when you send an invitation to a party, some people will accept and some people will decline for a whole multitude of reasons.
yeah.
Same with a boundary.
Yeah.
You set them up as an invitation to be in relationship with me. I want you to be in relationship with me. Here is the invitation in the form of a boundary. And some people accept and the relationship thrives, and some people decline and the relationship falls apart. And in either case, it's okay.
Yeah.
This idea of a boundary as an invitation, I think, because of what it's doing on the inside of me right now, I think has the potential to really revolutionize how people see boundaries. And I think if they need more information, Dr. Henry Cloud, Townsend and
that's
Cloud?
John Townsend, Henry Cloud.
Those two guys.
Yeah.
Those two guys wrote a book.
They did.
On boundaries that's really good. But if you even, if anything that we've said even starts stirring an idea in your heart, or maybe this is something I should look at, it's an invitation. I'm going to give you an invitation to read the book. Buy yourself the book. Read the book. We can drop a link to it in the show notes as an invitation for a better version of you. I would not have thought at the beginning of this conversation that I would think there's so much potential on the other side of understanding why boundaries matter. But
Wow.
This is good. I know.
Wow. Look at you go.
Yeah.
That's my gift to you.
It's really great. So Heather, we're gonna wrap this up because we're gonna go celebrate my birthday. But what have you done in the last week that's brought you joy or the people around you joy?
Well, for sure, the last thing I did was high school graduation.
Oh my goodness. Was that just last week?
No, but we skipped a week of recording.
Okay.
So I'm including this in
That's fine.
2 weeks. That
Okay,
was
that's
like highlight of my year is this person is graduated.
Oh, my
they
goodness.
are done. I am free. That brought me great joy.
Oh my goodness. Okay. What I did in the last week that brought maybe brought me joy, but more than anything brought my kids joy. On the last day of school, we loaded up the car and we went to Branson and took the kids to a theme park there, Silver Dollar City. And it was kind of rainy and gloomy. And so we had rain jackets, which was smart. And Brian, like fearless leader, pulls us all together and was like, we're getting ready to go on a tour of all the water rides. There's 3 water rides in this park. We're going on all of them. Let's go. My teenagers are just like, is he serious? I'm like, oh, he's serious. And I usually am the stick in the mud. Like, I will not do that, Brian. Sorry. I refuse to have fun. And I just thought this is going to bring Eleanor so much joy. So we put on our jackets and people have ponchos on. It doesn't matter. Those water rides get you so wet. It doesn't. We went on every single water ride and she was belly laughing and having so much fun. And then it was equally as fun for me to look at my 14-year-old that like after the first one, he's like, do I seriously have to go on the next ride? I'm like, I think so.
Yes, you do.
I think you do.
You're already wet. You might as well go.
We did one. It was the log ride where you get a big splash. And we'd gotten the wettest on that one and there was no one in line behind us. So I looked at the man and I go, will you send us on one more time? And you know, those people, they must have firm boundaries at Silver Dollar City because he's looking around, like making sure he's not going to get in trouble. I'm like, there's nobody in line. And he's like, go ahead. So funny. But we're splashing again and everyone's just like, Eleanor's like, wah! And the boys are like, oh. And I mean, our shoes are sloshing. And and that's how I'm approaching my birthday this year too. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever happens. You can't rain on my parade. My shoes might be sloshy, but we're having a good time. And it was so much fun. So that's what I did. So if you've enjoyed this episode, do us a favor, subscribe to Life in Motion so you can see every episode or hear every episode. But not only that, we want to hear from you. We are legitimately laying our life on the table. And what do you want to hear us talk about? Or what questions do you have? You can leave us a voicemail. Our number's in the show notes. And we'd love to talk about and surface. You can ask us anything. Ask us anything. Nothing's off limits.
True story.
Yeah. I mean, like, we'll bring it to the table, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Unless we draw a boundary for you. But anyway, subscribe to the show and leave us a voicemail and we'll talk about it.
See you next week.